The Montgomery College Smithsonian Faculty Fellowship Program is a unique collaboration between the Paul Peck Humanities Institute and Smithsonian's Office of Educational Technology. This unique professional opportunity encourages community college faculty to teach with the Smithsonian. Dr. Katherine Smith joined Montgomery College in 2001, where she has taught most of the courses offered in the English department. She especially enjoys teaching her students the craft of writing in all genres and seeing them grow in skill and confidence. Her recent poetry publications include appearances in Boulevard, North American Review, Plowshares, Mezzo-Cayman, Cincinnati Review, Missouri Review, Southern Review, and many other journals. Her short fiction has appeared in Fiction International and Gargoyle. Her first book, Argument by Design, appeared in 2003. Her second book of poems, Woman Alone on the Mountain, appeared in 2014. Her third book, Secret City, appeared with Madville Press in August 2022. She is poetry editor of the Potomac Review. She has a daughter. In her spare time, she takes art classes at MC and plays with her dog, Zephyr.
The name of my project is Braiding Self and World Through Museum Objects, an English 101 class project weaving self, family, and culture. So this was actually a 101 plus class, so sort of a semi-developmental class and a 101 class. We met, it was an in-person class, and my objectives for this assignment were, first of all, to get the students out of the classroom. I mean, it felt like an achievement to get them into a classroom, but then I also wanted to have them connect with the real world, because hopefully the future is not only going to be online. The future happens in reality, just like it always has, and hopefully like it always will. So I wanted to get them into the future, into a world full of objects that they could see, if not touch, obviously. And so that was one of my objectives in this project. The other objective was to have them do a somewhat rigorous writing project that would fit in with my syllabus, and that would allow them to learn some new techniques and some new skills. And what I chose to do is to have them find connections. So many of us do this because that is what museums are all about. They're about creating connections between self and objects. It's very much a mutual sort of experience where students see things and then make those connections. And I wanted students to get some experience in the real world making those connections. Perhaps I felt like some of that was a little bit lost being online, and a lot of creativity circles around making connections. So the essay I had them do was one that allowed them to make connections, and they were to weave together self, family, and culture. So my museum preparation, I had them choose 3 museum objects from Many Voices, One Nation. They could also choose objects from Entertainment Nation, and they did, and the Democracy of a Leap of Faith. I think a couple of them did choose objects from several different exhibits. So they were to do this in advance, and I gave out all the instructions on Blackboard in advance to tell them what to do, and they were to choose an object they connected with, And then I advise them that even if they don't connect with anything, they should just choose 3 objects to search for a connection with, because so often students don't feel a connection until they look for it. So I didn't, even if they didn't feel a connection, they were to look for one. And then I told them to take 2 photos of each of the objects. And all of these instructions were up on Blackboard. And then they were to answer the following questions in Padlet. I'm not a technological person, but one thing I really loved about this class, this fellowship, is that I learned how to use a number of different technologies, and some of them were a lot easier than Blackboard. So actually, that was encouraging. And the questions I asked them to come up with were: what is the object you chose? What did you connect with in this object? And what did the object teach you about yourself, your family, and your culture? And I asked them to, in advance, they had all of this in advance, and I also handed it out the day of the museum visit. They were to write their answers and post on Padlet after the museum visit. The other preparation we did was readings, and these readings were from Robin Wall Kimmerer's Braiding Sweetgrass and from Camille Dungy's Guidebook to Relative Strangers. So we read the essay that they wrote, it was a sort of a mixed genre essay that weaved back and forth between objective description, subjective description, and narrative, personal narrative. It's called a braided essay. And Robin Wall Kimmerer's essay, it's got an Indian name, but a Native American name. But it's an essay about black ash baskets, and the subtitle is A Black Ash Basket. So these are baskets that were made by the pigeon family, which is a Potawatomi family that is renowned for making baskets. And the essay is a masterful piece of descriptive writing, and it also weaves the family values of the pigeons, which is responsibility to the earth, and to using what the earth gives us in a sustainable way. And it moves back and forth between objective description and subjective description. So we read this beautiful essay, and Camille Dungy's essay centers around Black experience, especially a woman's experience of fire and the history of Black Americans. And again, it weaves together descriptions of fire, beautiful descriptions, both objective and subjective descriptions of fire, with cultural history. So having prepared and read the materials, we then went to the museum. I gave the students directions to the museum. They were on Blackboard. I gave them hard copies, and we met inside the museum at Dave's car, which is very hard to miss. It's right inside the lobby. And we did a scavenger hunt. They all showed up. It was October 29th, and it was just the Sunday before we started working on the assignment. So the students enjoyed going around the museum, searching for objects and photographing the objects. So here's one student who loved the desk. He wrote his essay about Martin Luther King's student desk. And here's us in the museum. The assignment was called the braided essay. assignment, and we used the topic was for this essay to use the visit to the Museum of American History to choose an object and creatively explore the associations between the object and your family and cultural history. The students were to weave together at least 2 threads and no more than 3. They did have the option of writing a poem for one of the threads, although none of them did. One thread took its inspiration from the object the students selected as personally significant. It was an objective description. We worked on describing from left to right, from bottom to top, from in to out, and they were to choose a point of view and write about that. Then the other thread was to take personal relationships with family and to extend the object into family. This little diagram gives an idea of the workflow. I don't really have time to go through it, but the diagram should help show that I broke things down into steps. I broke different steps that the students were supposed to follow. We did have a workflow, dates and deadlines, when to post to discussion, group work that they did together, things they did at home, things they did together after the museum visit. All of this was over a period of 2 weeks. And we did a contract grade. So to make a C, they just had to meet all the steps of the contract. And to make a B or an A, they had to make a B or an A on the rubric. But that way, it was a brand new assignment for me, so I didn't feel quite so pressured. And they didn't either with this new assignment. I don't know if I'd use the contract grade again because it was pretty complicated, actually. And they did turn in a rough draft. They critiqued it, and then they they turned in the final draft. Here is one. I'll just read one of these connections, and then I'll just flip through the others. If you want to see the PowerPoint, I'll be happy to provide it later. So this is one student's connections. She says, "My grandma had expressed to me that she had been through countless wars in Vietnam, and it was not easy keeping your shoes intact and from being destroyed by countless running and climbing hours to escape soldiers. Some neighbors of hers did not even have shoes and instead had to run on foot, leaving bloody trails of their horrific lives." So that's the kind of connections they were making. This student said, "I learned what makes a cultural tradition is when something is practiced, is passed on through generations, like my mom's and grandmother's, and now my tradition of offering conchas to guests in our home." And this is the Tree of Life, which is in the Molina Family Gallery. And this student said, "As the Tree of Life spun around me and showed its branches, one particular area stuck out to me. This was the social side that talked about boundaries that have been broken. In this one, I noticed there was an LGBT flag hanging on one of the branches. I started to think about myself and how I am part of that community." And here's some more student comments, but I don't think I have any more time.